Welcome, everyone, to the Introduction to Plant-Based Nutrition. Welcome Simple Veg chapters, and also welcome individuals who have an interest in whole foods plant-based eating. I'm Debbie Branker, and I am a homesteader and self-taught whole foods plant-based cook, an educator, a writer, and I love eating whole foods plant-based.
Hi, my name is Craig. Debbie and I are married and we live on an organic farm in the New York Finger Lakes region. Along with 5 colleagues, we founded Simple Veg to organize folks to eat more plants for greater health equity and reduction of climate change. Health and climate. Whole foods plant-based diet increases our chances for good health and our community's chances for good health, and it reduces our carbon footprint to help climate change. What is this thing we're talking about, whole foods plant-based eating? Well, WFPB centers on whole, unrefined, or minimally refined plant foods and excludes, so we can't have when we do this, meat, dairy products, eggs, and highly refined foods, and no sugar and no oil. Now, this sounds boring, but trust us, it's delicious if you do it right, and we're going to support you on that path. Our goal for Simple Veg is that each member increase their eating of whole foods plant-based foods by 20%. We're not telling anybody to give anything up. If you want to go 100%, that's fine. But we're just trying to, for health and climate, to increase what we're eating. So some examples of whole foods plant-based: fruits and vegetables and nuts. Now, whole foods means you're not taking anything out, but you can grind a whole food up. So not only nuts, but nut butter, almond butter, cashew butter. That's whole foods. Tofu is because it's the whole soybean. Potatoes and whole grains like rice and grits and wheat and oats. Now, an example of what's not whole foods plant-based, you might hear about the increasing popularity of alternative meats, aka fake meats. These are processed and engineered. They're high in saturated fat. Saturated fat increases risks of heart disease, diabetes, and other illnesses. You can see they're almost, if not more, higher in fat than actual beef burgers. Now, again, we're not saying you can't eat these, but just keep in mind that it is not part of your whole foods plant-based intake. Eating fake meats does reduce your climate footprint, but, and we'll get to that in another training, but it does not help your health.
So let's look a little more closely at addictive fat and sugar. So reducing addictive fat and sugar intake increases our ability to taste the delicious diversity of the plant world. So when we go to restaurants, we get food frequently that has way more sugar and fat in it than we really need for our health, and our taste buds get used to that.
Or when we buy packaged foods from grocery stores as well.
Absolutely. And our taste buds get used to that, but those flavors mask the real taste of the food.
Yep.
And the real taste of the food is incredible. And it's nuanced. You taste a ton more things, not just like grease or sweet. So this is all about allowing your taste buds to really take in all that nature has contributed to the plants that you're eating. And we have not suffered one bit. Like we eat plentifully, and we eat lots of things that we ate before we were whole foods plant-based, but they're just healthier. So stuffed shells, the pumpkin muffins, etc.
Yeah, we've made all these things before you. We made and took pictures of and ate them, and they were delicious. We're going to be sharing recipes. We're going to be communicating with each other to support each other in all of this. I used to be addicted to sugar and fat. By going whole foods plant-based, I have lost 60 pounds, and my cholesterol and triglycerides have plummeted. According to my doctor, this change has, quote, saved my life.
So we want to talk a little bit about the culture of Simple Veg, of the Simple Veg community. So share, don't shame. Everything we do is rooted in love and compassion. Every individual is a complex person with dignity and not a stereotype. And each local Simple Veg chapter can decide its approach. So we are meeting you where you are, wherever that is on your journey. And we accept everyone as they are. And we believe that it is your own individual path that you are carving out, and we're supporting you in doing that. So why whole foods plant-based? So researchers have shown that a more plant-based diet may help prevent, treat, or reverse some of our leading causes of death, including heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and high blood pressure. That's from nutritionfacts.org. So these leading causes of death in a non-COVID year are called lifestyle diseases. They are things that are a part of a diet that is not nutrient rich. And so you can increase the chances of leading a full and healthy life if you are eating more whole foods plant-based.
So you see these top 8 causes of death outside of COVID year. There's scientific evidence showing that except for accidents, every other illness, your risk of having the illness is lower with whole foods plant-based diet, including Alzheimer's, by the way. Look it up on Google. Now, we've seen in this past year during COVID that there are great inequalities in health. Now, the New England Journal of Medicine has said that nutrition has played a crucial role in these inequalities because nutrition has led to lack of proper nutrition has led to greater illness in Black and Latinx and Indigenous and white working class communities. It not only has caused these things that we've heard about, diabetes and heart disease and cancers, and that have made us more susceptible to COVID, poor nutrition actually also reduces our immune strength. So, and good nutrition from whole foods plants increases our immune strength, which is our ability to fight off any illness and disease.
And so when we think about COVID and we think about fighting it, keep in mind the statistic that we're talking about death rates of twice as many death rates among Indigenous, Black, Pacific Islander, and Latinx Americans are experienced in comparison to white Americans and Asian Americans. And also that lower income white communities had substantially higher COVID death rates than higher income groups. So what you eat can make a difference in combating this virus that has ravaged our world.
And this is why Simple Veg was founded, because this is unjust. This inequity is unjust. But even if we get rid of COVID, the inequalities of health remain, and we have to change them.
We also don't need the meat and dairy for protein. In terms of protein, you can, and we definitely do, get everything we need protein-wise from plants. And in addition to that, people that follow plant-based protein diets get 70% more protein on average than they need every day. So you can be strong and get what you need.
The fat and sugar addiction I mentioned before, sugar and fat have addictive substances, chemicals, that trick your brain and my brain everyone's brain into thinking it needs more food. So we get addicted and we don't really need more food, but we need to eat more food. We've seen this in ourselves. When we eat sugar one day, we want more the next day. Both high amounts of sugar and saturated fat, which is found in meat, dairy, and coconuts, increase the risk of diabetes, obesity, heart disease, and many other illnesses. Later, we're going to talk specifically about race and class and food liberation, and we will see how companies have intentionally snuck additional sugar into our food that is unhealthy to get us addicted so they could get rich.
They're trying to kill us.
That's right.
Tribeca Film Festival.
It's a movie.
Juneteenth Day.
The first great step in all of this is whenever we buy food, first of all, make as much of your own food as possible. But if you buy something at the store, read the label, please. Because I love you, you need to read the label for yourself and for me. 24 to 36 grams of sugar is recommended per day. Look at this. And one serving of this, whatever it is 28 grams. 55 grams of sugar in one Coke. In one Coke, you had way too much sugar for the day. Look at saturated fat and trans fat. These are the two unhealthiest fat types. You always look at a label to see how much saturated fat, how much trans fat. We should be having 16 to 22 grams saturated fat and 2 grams trans fat a day. Now, unfortunately, one KFC chicken breast is 4.5 gram trans fat, twice the amount in one breast that you're supposed to be having today. They will add all these sugars, syrups and sweeteners and rice syrups and cane sugars into the labels as you read the ingredient list to sneak in something that will addict you to being unhealthy.
Sugar goes by many names. So there are alternatives. So relatively healthy sweeteners that we use monk fruit to bake. We use alcohol, sugar, or erythritol to bake sometimes. We've used stevia in the past. We use agave, date paste we've made, and also raisin paste we've made. Really delicious, and also not something that will cause you to be unhealthy.
Now, don't worry, this seems like a lot of information. First of all, it's a video. Feel free to stop it, pause it at any time to look at the info or rewind or scroll back. But we'll have plenty of other information sharing as we go, optional, that you can check into to learn more. Now, date paste is good for you because it has sweetener in it, natural sweetener, but it's a whole food. It's ground up dates, so it maintains the fiber. Fiber actually decreases the negative effects of sugar. That's why whole foods are good. You want to get the sweetness with the fiber. Americans, on average, eat only 11 grams of fiber per day. Recommended 35 to 38 grams fiber. There is no fiber in meat. There's no fiber in dairy. Fiber only comes in whole plants. Increased fiber decreases your risk of diabetes, heart disease, colorectal cancer. I'll take it. I want to decrease all of that. And other chronic illnesses. Now, meats. Now, again, if you want to have a little meat on the sly, that's all right. But also, if it's part of your tradition for holidays, that's fine. But just be wary of how much we're eating. Higher risk of breast cancer has been found in science to be linked to prostate cancer. Breast cancer and prostate cancer have been linked to consumption of dairy. High risk of heart disease and diabetes has been linked to consumption of meat. Now, yes, chicken and fish are lower risk than beef and pork, but with any meat, there is still an increased risk of these illnesses. These are eating goals that we're all going to try to achieve in community. It's hard to do. It will take a while. We're going to support each other. We're going to share information and provide each other all the support we need to reach these goals. Number one, increase eating of plant-based whole foods by 20%. Decrease sugar and oil consumption. 3, decrease saturated and trans fat consumption. 4, decrease meat and dairy consumption. 5, increase fiber. Fiber's amazing. Increase fiber consumption. And 6, prepare and or grow more of your own foods. We're going to learn more. We're going to support each other. We're going to love each other. And we're going to regenerate and rebuild our families, our bodies, and our communities.
Together.
Together.
Bye, everybody. Bye for now.
Bye for now.